Here we are. We have just wrapped up not only episode number 19 of Limit Break Radio, but our premiere pilot episode of Final Encounter Cast.
Oh yeah, I forgot we did Limit Break Radio today too.
We did.
I did kind of forget about it.
Yeah, we did.
After that 3-hour Final Encounter, like it's like, oh yeah, we did both of those.
We did both of those things.
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Yep, we did Limit Breaking Radio, Limit Breaking Music.
Yes.
Which was cool. Obviously, it always is.
Yep.
We talked about the differences in Heaven's Ward launching and how it compares to other expansions launching, such as World of Warcraft stuff, the Final Fantasy 11 ones, etc., etc.
Got a nice perspective.
We did, and actually, I thought too. First of all, that went way longer than we anticipated, and
that whole discussion
always seems to. And I actually think we can get more out of it. A discussion topic which I'm going to come up with an outline for, and it doesn't matter if we do it next week or down the road. But I think it would be cool to have a discussion that compares the evolution of Final Fantasy XIV, 1.0 to 2.0, and then 2.0 to 3.0.
That's interesting. Although, as you guys said, I mean, 1.0 is a little bit of a different case because all of that content became null and void, except for the stuff that you got to take with you, the items, the levels.
Just not in the case of just an expansion, but just how the game has evolved. Because it has. It is even from 2.0 to 3.0, just this entire game has underwent such a drastic evolution. I think it would make a really cool show.
Yeah, although I do think that it is going to take a little bit more time and big picture context to be able to have that conversation.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah. But yeah, absolutely an interesting topic, a really fascinating conversation. Really glad that you guys were chiming in on this on our Skype and being really active about it in the chat room. The chat had some very interesting things to say, I thought it was a very good discussion. When I had initially come up with the idea. I kind of didn't know where, I mean, I knew, like Heaven's Word blows most of the other expansions that I've ever experienced completely out of the water, but, that question that I posed early on is exactly what is Heaven's Word's analog in other games developments, given that we had 1.0 as well, because you have to look at that time as development period for the game. Like, even though they did change a lot of the development team associated with it, there was still a lot of, there was story that was being developed, classes, moves, jobs. All of those things were being developed in 1.0 because certain amounts of them carried over from 1.0 to 2.0. So you have to look at that as a development period, but I also understood what you guys were saying, that it is a special case and wouldn't necessarily constitute Heaven's Word being the second expansion. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. How did you guys feel? The show went. Juxta, you were really light on the drops, man.
Yeah, talking about myself, of course.
Apparently,
I don't know. There was like.
Encounter.
Apparently, I feel like I was really off on this episode. I mean, like you said, I could count the number of drops I actually did on one hand, and I don't feel like I got as much. No, I think I had 3.
Okay.
I think I had 3.
To be fair, though, they were good drops, and I mean quality over quantity at least.
And they were some of the newer ones too. So.
Yeah, I don't know, for some reason I found the new ones midway through, but no, I didn't feel like I had as much discussion as I had in other episodes. So.
Well, you were really discussion heavy last week too.
Yeah, you contributed way more.
Let me ask you this: are you a clicker or you keybind your drops?
Obviously clicker.
Maybe you should think about keybinding them, man.
I really do. I really do think that I need to get you a soundboard app, like a better soundboard app that you can you can make. Of course, multiple pages on. You can do a bigger array.
If you do that, and then he can set his own soundboard, because I know that a lot of times he gets. Sometimes afterwards he's like, it's a lot of pressure doing callers and soundboard drops.
Yeah.
And if we get something, an interface that's easier to work with, like me and Scully can make our own soundboards, and if we wanted to take a break for a week, we could cycle people into that.
Yeah, but we do have a board that could support something like that, but we would need to be able to. I think that would just get chaotic. I think having multiple people doing soundboards, I think that.
Well, I
would
think
just
he's talking about switching who does it from week to
Yeah,
week.
yeah,
Not all the
no,
same
no.
episode.
Yeah.
So
Sorry.
come on. What if you could have like
Drop
what if
wars.
your drop could be Control
Drop
F
wars.
you? Control F you for just F you douchebag. It'd be awesome.
Well, you can set up keybinds with this other.
Well, yeah, but you're not gonna use
gonna
a
do
drop so often that you get a keybind.
That's true.
I mean, come on.
Challenge accepted. But no, I meant like 1 week Ascalia could do it, 1 week I could do it.
He
So
just,
that
he
it
just
gets
wants a
in.
nutter's gonna nut drop.
Sure. We haven't done it yet, but we have been considering changing the phone system to something other than Skype. That was a consideration that we've made for taking calls on Final Encountercast, but would also obviously carry over into doing the new show as well. So that's something that we're going to be looking into and maybe possibly pulling the trigger on sometime this week.
Especially all the problems we've been having with Skype recently.
Yeah.
Today,
Yeah.
especially for the final encounter cast today, like what the fuck was that even?
It was the same. It was the exact same problem that Juxta, you and I had the other night,
Mhm.
where for whatever reason nobody could hear each other, and then when they could, it sounded like ass.
Terrible.
And
Oh, that one time that we were here and we're like, what the shit is going on? Why is it so
Yes.
terrible?
yeah, that has happened now 3 or 4 times, and I figured out to solve it, you have to reboot Skype, and then so while
you
I was.
probably have to make sure OBS is down too, or else it doesn't.
But no,
Right,
well,
for
what
OBS,
what
right?
happened? What happened with OBS? Here's what happened with OBS. So we restarted all of the Skypes, and that mostly fixed the shitty audio problem. But what I tried to do while I was troubleshooting that was I tried to engage the USB microphone that OBS uses. Like that's what we use to feed the show audio to OBS.
Yep.
And because I tried to engage that in another program, it just freaked the driver out, and then it wouldn't, like, there was no audio coming through on that
Shut
device
itself.
altogether. Which is why we had to reboot the stream, we had to shut it all down, reboot the computer, and when it came back up, then there was audio being presented on the device.
Question for you: we traditionally drop our Limerick radios on Tuesdays because of reset day. When are we gonna drop Final Encounter?
That's a great question. That's a great question.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I feel like it shouldn't. It should be later in the week. That way we spread it out a little bit.
Should be Thursday?
I'm thinking either Thursday to get them through their Friday, or Friday going into the weekend. What do you guys think?
I feel like
I feel like waiting until Thursday, especially because we have the news segment that Ascalia is doing.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a long time to wait. I sort of feel like because I think there's less production value or production involved on the post side of Final Encountercast, that I could probably push that out Monday
Okay.
during the day, like during the day or the evening, and then Tuesdays would be for LBR.
Okay.
That way I could just throw all of the processing and editing
I
I
hear-
need to do into one shot.
I hear what Cal was saying, but you're right. Like, because obviously, if we have an episode where we do like a news something, something
Yeah.
big in gaming news, then we might not want that to become
That is
relevant.
true. Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually think that, with LBR, way more people know where to find that in the space between Sunday and Tuesday when we do it.
Mhm.
They know to check our Twitch page or, our Twitch recordings and stuff like that. And there's nothing that is ever so timely with 14 that it's like it has to be next day. The only time that happens, we react with a limit breaking news segment.
Right.
So I
And
feel
usually
like
still even covered on the show anyhow.
eventually, yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like, doing the show live on Sunday and then having it come out on Tuesday, I feel like that makes sense for 14, but that because Final Encountercast actually contains much more timely and possibly even more timely discussion
Right.
too,
All
that
right.
it should come out on Mondays.
You're right.
So, first time in a long time where I think all of us felt really nervous.
Yes. Okay. So are we?
No, not at all.
Are we done with the Limit Break Radio part? Like, any more thoughts on Limit Break Radio?
Limit Break Radio, you know, it was a good episode. It was a really good episode, but I just feel like, especially right now, it's so overshadowed by the success on first episode of Final Encounter. Like, that's what's.
I like that you didn't try to. And I don't know if this was just because we had Final Encounter coming after it, or because I like point out it in the note. But being able to be like, all right, you know, we're far enough in just with our discussions and our limit breaking music. Just because we have emails on the list doesn't mean we have to do them. That we can.
That was an intentional. Like, this is what I keep saying, that our outlines don't have to be like regimented. We don't have to go line by line.
Right.
And even in Final Encounter Cast, I don't feel like we had to go line by line with all of the E3 stuff, but we did, and I think that gave it a bit of a flow and a bit of an organization, because not all of us were so caught up on literally everything that was coming out of E3. So I think it actually served that content better.
Mm-hmm.
But with Limit Break Radio, yeah, like, I always want there to be more on that outline than we need.
Right.
We can always cut superfluous segments. If we needed to, we could have cut limit breaking music.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And come back to it at another time.
Yep,
it would have been very easy for us to do. But you know, we had the time, and so I think we were like, okay, we can do one or the other and comfortably cut one of them.
Yep. Yep.
Absolutely comfortable with continuing to do that, and even inside the email segment, you know, we should have more emails than we need.
Yeah.
And if we need to cut a few, that's fine.
Okay.
It's
Cool.
I mean, it's always better to, because if our discussion had petered out after 20 minutes, then we would have used the other stuff to fill one.
Yeah, I agree.
So, yeah, no, that was great. I was really happy that you know, we didn't have to go to the email segment today. That was good. Okay, so yeah, I again, Limit Break Radio 19, very successful conversation, and also, yeah, the limit breaking music segment was really good. That was really fun. I thought we had some really nice choices.
Oh,
Thank you.
I had a question for you. So when you did you took Husky's track and then you did your little Titan cover, right? He thought that was cool, right?
Yeah.
Because I was actually thinking the other day, like, how cool would it be if, I mean, do you think, with your limited interaction with him, that he might be open to doing some type of, like, collaboration?
Yeah, I think so.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
Because this is just a thing that popped into my head, right? But I thought it would be really cool to come up with, like, some lyrics and see if he would come up with a song and then do, like, a Limit Break Radio Husky special.
That would be cool. I've also given thought, you know, because like when I did the Titan cover and everyone liked it so much that, you know, and we had talked about doing other covers.
I seriously think it would be really, really cool to put out like a Limit Break Radio special, like EP or whatever.
Oh no,
and a smaller LP.
and
LP, you know,
well, and we can do that. We should do that. And you know, start picking out. Yeah, well, stretch. That's a great idea. Start picking out, you know, what songs you think you would like to do.
Gold Saucer.
There's no singing in that.
Good King Moogle
I thought
Mog,
you wanted
man.
to do
Good King Moogle Mog.
Oh yeah.
He could do Good King Moogle Mog for sure.
Because I would also like to turn.
We could all do
See,
Good King Mog Mog.
I thought it would be cool to take Good King Moogamog and like give it some like Tenacious D sort of treatment, right? But then he's all like, "No, I call Good King Moogamog. It is my song." I'm like, all right, whatever.
Juxta diva it out hard.
Dibs on Ravana.
Ooh.
Oh!
Wait, hang on. Can you produce that bass of a voice? I don't
Can
think.
you
have to
do
wait
it
and see.
justice?
Ooh, like can
You'll have to
you?
wait and see,
I
won't
don't
ya?
think you
You'll
can.
have to wait
Do
and
it.
see.
Try it.
I
Try
was
it
in
right now.
musicals, man.
Live
I was in
auditions.
musicals. Were you in musicals?
But your voice just doesn't have that octave.
You don't know that. Just because you've never heard it doesn't mean that I don't have it.
Okay.
I'll
Sure.
trade it. You want Ravana and I'll take Moogamog? Think about it.
I think this is a manipulation tactic. He knows he can't do it.
Is it? Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't.
He knows he can't do it. It's a power play.
We'll see.
I'll keep the mog.
Okay.
Don't let him Daffy Duck you.
He got Daffy Duck earlier.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so thank you guys for listening to Limit Break Radio. It's a whole lot of fun. Great episode. Can't wait for it to come out.
So is the final encounter after show going to be a separate video?
No, but I thought that we would talk about it into like yeah.
Okay, because you were like outroing it, so.
No. I just wanted to like kind of
gotcha.
put an end cap on it.
Segue.
Okay,
Segue.
All right, cap it, man.
Because I mean some.
Stick your dick in the
I'm
tailpipe.
sure that there are some audience members that would probably everyone is supporting Limit Break Radio. Not everyone is necessarily supporting Final Encounter Games. We hope that they do.
But I would think that anyone who loves LBR enough to give to us and be a Patreon, loves us as a group and probably loves Final Encounter Cast too.
We would hope so. We would hope so. That's the goal, at least. But we have to give them the Limit Break Radio stuff first.
Oh well, no, I know that.
That's Leah.
I thought you were outroing the videos.
No.
Okay.
So let's talk about Final Encounter Cast,
All
guys.
right. First of all, apparently everyone was nervous.
I was.
Why were you guys nervous?
I
Like from a technical aspect, I understand because we were trying to do some new stuff.
from
But,
a technical
like,
aspect
we
a little
do
bit,
this-
but let me say this. So last night I was up pretty late
Yeah.
running tests, getting stuff set up, and making sure that this was possible. Making the overlay that we use live on the stream today. So actually, from a technical aspect, I was pretty good.
Oh, okay.
From a performance aspect, I was actually also pretty
Really?
good.
So.
I was
Why?
not nervous. I was not.
Oh, okay. Because like even Nika said she had a nightmare that like we had nothing to talk about and it just fizzled out. And I'm
I
like,
guess for me it was
this
just
is what we do all the time.
right.
Like,
But for
off
me it was
camera.
just like with FF14, we play it 5 nights a week. Most of us, we're in that community. We live and breathe it pretty much at this point. With a lot of things that are just in general gaming. Not as much, I feel like, but obviously
But-
went fine. But
well,
maybe
yeah,
it was just like this nagging
The-
fear, I guess.
The whole of gaming is so huge, no one can have context for it all.
Sure.
I think, and obviously we didn't plan it out like this because we said we're literally taking the same cast that we do on one show and we're putting it on another show, and so we didn't set this up consciously as like you have context with this stuff, you have context with this stuff, you have context with this
No,
stuff,
in
and we
fact-
all sort of have an overlap, like a Venn diagram
You,
here in the middle.
You copy and pasted a quote that someone who watched our last video said about the structure of the show, which is basically just a bunch of geeks talking about their passions.
Yeah, absolutely.
If a Nero wants to talk about Metal Gear Solid, talk about it. We don't have context for it, so if college wants to rip on him the whole time, do it because that's hilarious.
Mhm.
And I love that idea because that's what, when we were conceptualizing it one time in one of these after shows, we were talking about like when you used to work in that used game store or
Sure.
whatever, and we were talking about our used games and shit like that, and you go, this is it, this is the gaming show.
Right.
That's pretty much
And,
what I want to
absolutely,
see.
like I sit there. I don't mean to say like I felt like we were gonna fail. It was just I consciously recognized that this was going to be something a little different than what we normally do, and there was just some nerves there about that.
Sure.
As it turns out, it went great. I'm not going to be nervous at all for the next one.
How do you feel like you're? Now, Escalia, I have to feel like since we're in the final encounter portion,
Should we now switch to our
do we
names?
do we switch
Switch
names?
names?
now?
Oh, is
Callie.
it all going to be one video?
It is
Yeah, it's gonna
And
be one video.
I honestly don't think it matters.
No, I was actually going to mention that we did really good with the names.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
and especially like you guys, like you didn't call me Joe or Escalia one time, and I was impressed.
You fucked
I fucked up one time. I
Yeah,
did.
you were the one that
And
fucked up.
but it was
To
hard
be
because
fair, if you're
I met
calling the
them.
kettle black, the Final Fantasy community.
Oh god.
But like at the same time, I met you three as a Nero Calo Juxta. I didn't
That's
learn your
true.
names
That's
until years
true.
later.
Yeah,
You
that
were a
is
fan
very-
of the show before you were on the show.
It is very hard.
It's
to
like
sort
when
of
you guys talk about Nika. That's how you met her and how you know her. I met you all as your
No,
husband.
that's not
Wrong.
true.
We knew her as Brittany, then Vicky, and now Nika.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, well, because we knew we all went to the same college,
Sure. Okay.
so we actually we met her as her like we didn't know her online before we met her, and
Okay.
then even when we brought her onto the show, she was known as Vicky. So it's like that whole thing, like Nika has, but it's like it's stuck. It is completely stuck now because
It's a
that's
catchy
the
name, it
only
is.
way.
I think one
It's
of
a
the
good name.
reasons too
It's
is
really good.
that she's Nika on Facebook as well. So that's what we always
That-
see talking to her.
that
is Nika.
too.
It's
That-
Nika, it's
that
Nika
also.
everywhere.
That's
That is
true.
true.
Yeah.
Okay, so a little bit of nerves, and what I was gonna say is, Callie, that I have to give you a lot of credit because I pretty much sprung the idea of doing the news segment on you when you walked in the door, and that went really well. That was exactly what I had pictured it as. And us chiming in with our thoughts, you guys jumping in with with spaces that you thought were appropriate for comments. Absolutely perfect. That's what that segment is going to be. And how did you feel about it?
I thought it was good. I felt like that's a really nice way to lead off the show. Like here's some actual gaming news. Maybe not necessarily what we're going to spend the whole episode discussing.
Right.
But here's what is current in gaming, and then we can just we can get through it like a quick news segment where we'll just take our jabs and shots at it.
Yep.
And then just keep going. I thought it was really good.
It was great. That is exactly what I had envisioned. Like that had popped into my head this morning when I was showering. And actually was a holdover from a show that I used to do called Refresh, and where we had a news segment. It was a much longer news segment, but the idea of having someone at the news desk, and when we have the piece of production for it too, I think it'll help cement it as sort of like this subsection and segment of the show.
Well, you gave the good example too, mentioning like Trudy from
From
local
Trudy.
radio,
Yep.
something I had known, I grew up with. That
Yeah.
made it a lot easier for me to do the segment, knowing what you had in mind.
Right.
Here's my question about something. The outline that we have wasn't an outline. It was just a bunch of links that you copy and pasted.
Pretty much.
All right. So going forward, is that how we're going to do it to help facilitate an environment and a discussion that's more natural and not reliant on something like that? Is we have our main topics, and obviously before the show, it's up to us to read about them. But basically, it's going to be like, all right, this is the topic, let's go.
Well, it's like I posted my stuff on virtual reality becoming the next thing. I put
Well,
kinda
yeah,
all
like
my thoughts. Is
notes
that
and
kinda
stuff.
What you're thinking?
Yeah. Well, because I came up with that master document for show ideas, right? Which everyone fucking ignored, and I hate all of you. Everyone had saw it, seen, everybody. Fuck you guys, all right?
How do you think I feel when I make this giant ass long accounting post and like
That doesn't necessarily require feedback, though.
it does.
This isn't something where
It
you
requires feedback right
you
here.
know what requires feedback.
Right
Your
here.
ego does.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know.
You know what? I don't want to hear it. Nika didn't even listen to the fucking intro. Okay. No. Yeah. So.
Well, we all know that Nika's the weakest link. Okay, she's not even here. All right, let's be honest. You have her here for the girl demographic. Misogynistic views. Hashtag.
Oh my God! This is why that drop is named
No.
the Callow on my computer.
Hold on, but this is for real because sometimes coming up with the LBR outline, that's real last minute sometimes,
Yes.
and I know it does put a lot of pressure on you. So if we get to a point where we have to be coming up with 2 outlines per week, like that could be a lot. Now,
Yes.
if we don't want a huge, big, involved outline for Final Encounter Cast, I think that's fine. I think that went great. We got a lot of discussion out of just a headline. Now, maybe it's because this is stuff that we're all passionate about and we just know it off the top of our heads, and we rely on certain people for certain topics to carry the conversation. I think that will work. The question is, can you survive without having that outline in front of you?
Here's what I would say. I actually liked having the links to the articles because any question mark that we had, release dates, I will cop to this. I didn't read all of the headlines, so the stuff that was a little bit obscure, that like they were like, oh, this new Star Fox game, finally justifies the tablet control. Like, and none of us were like, well, we don't know what that means.
Yeah,
having that
also-
link, but having that link and being able to click it, bring it up there in the moment, and answer the question, that was really good. So I really actually do like having links to source material.
Alright, yeah, that's fine.
If
So-
we get to the point though where we're doing both shows every week,
Yes.
what we might look to do is like have a night, like say Wednesday night, where we all get on Skype and plan the show. Have a show planning meeting.
Maybe.
Or,
I don't know that that's necessary. That's entirely necessary.
Or, did it, alright, besides looking at the post, did anyone click on the master document?
I clicked on it. I didn't read much of it, but I clicked on it.
Click on it.
To be fair, I clicked on it because I was afraid if I didn't click on it, you'd somehow know.
Let's move on.
I clicked on it, I'm like,
We're trying to get Cal
No,
to
I
rage out
said-
twice in one
I
night.
said let's move on.
there was words in there and I just couldn't be arsed
Let's
to read it.
move on.
Here's
Here's
the Final Fantasy remake. I think it's a good idea. I
here's
hope they have Paradigm.
look, okay.
I'm seriously gonna kill him tonight.
Please no. I like him a little bit.
You just killed him. Good job. Okay, so here's what I think about, like, in terms of, like, is a topic good or not good for the show? I think as long as there are two people on the show that feel like they can have a competent conversation or have at least semi-informed opinions about a topic, then it's probably going to be something that we can.
That's what it was. There was the one, you and Nika talking about Mass Effect.
Yes.
Or like I brought up Battlefront, and everyone kind of knew a little bit about
Right.
Star Wars Battlefront. It's like that's the sort of thing. As long as at least two people can hold the discussion for a little bit. That's
But what I want to avoid is I want to avoid four people asking one person a lot of questions about one game in particular.
Yeah.
If it's very clear that, like, a lot of us don't have a context for it, that I think we navigated that problem very, very well today, and very naturally, without even having to give it much thought or plan it. Like, we did it as a crew really naturally. And so I don't think it's like it doesn't need to be a written rule because we already do it.
the chemistry for a new show. I thought host chemistry was great.
Oh well, and I think it's going to be because we've been working together for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, you think about these shows, the way that they're organized and put together. Most of the time, it's people who may not really know each other very well, coming together over Skype, and then they've automatically got that barrier of Skype. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like.
Not just that, but when you're trying to do something with new people, you don't have the familiarity, you don't know how far you can go, so you hold it back.
That's true too. I mean, I also know, you know, like I watch, you know, Kind of Funny Games and other gaming talk shows on Twitch, and you know, like these guys are pros and they've got the studio and the nice mics and everything, and they still don't quite have the rapport and the chemistry that we do.
Well, it's like I think Calloway, he just said it best, is you know how far you can go. We knew that we could, you know, poking the bear until you rage out of the room.
Yeah.
Or you know that you can throw any amount of shit my way, and it's whatever. It's part of the show. We know
Right?
that.
Yeah. Like none of us were like when you stormed out. None of us were like, "Whoa, that just got awkward." We were just like, "Oh, that was funny."
Yeah.
You actually missed a really good drop opportunity when he left. You could have used one of the newer drops that he'll be missed. You missed it, man.
Yeah.
I
The new
literally
drops
just
are
thought
hard
of
to
that.
pick up, man.
I just thought of that, and I'm so disappointed.
Oh, but you're mad that he missed it.
It's like, in the heat of the moment, bro, come on.
That's why you got to get good. Hashtag
Oh
get good.
goodness.
I am good. You can't catch them all, though, okay?
Pokemon. You can.
Gotta catch you.
No, you have to have partners for that.
That's true. You do need help.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I thought finally Countercast went great. The only thing that really bugged me was the technical hiccups beforehand, but
It's a new show, and you
Yeah.
know what? Shit's gonna happen.
Shit's gonna
And like we said, we recovered up to 180, 190 people.
at some point,
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, I'm glad that most of our audience, you know, we told them to stick around for the show. They knew it was coming, so that's
I knew
good.
that like once we may have lost the stream for a bit. That might have actually worked out to our advantage because then when we got the stream back, the email went out again.
This is true.
That's true.
That may have worked out to our advantage losing the stream. Because I noticed that after the email went out, that number jumped.
In fact, that's probably a good idea now, whenever we're about to start Final Encounter, drop it and pick it back up so it resends an email with
Yeah,
a new headline.
push a nice long commercial.
Yeah. And then drop it.
Well, yeah, especially between, you know, like that's the other thing we really, like as internally, we need to be a little bit better about is pushing more commercials because that does add to our revenue stream. Not a lot, but the more people who are watching, the more it adds to the revenue
Yeah.
stream because it counts how many people saw it, not how many pushes you do. So, yeah. So that was super awesome. I'm excited to put this show together.
Scale of 1 to 10. How pleased are you with Final Encounter Cast after the first episode?
I'm gonna go with an 8. It wasn't like I think a 10 would have been like we attracted a huge audience on Twitch and people were just like going fucking crazy.
I'm also going to give it an 8. Technical aspects withstanding, I think that what we had to talk about could have been more concentrated. Like the stuff that we literally had nothing to say about. Like did we have to have FIFA and Madden?
We touched on everything.
Which
Yeah,
we
did.
didn't really need to be.
We touched on it because it was a good idea because we made fun of it. I thought it.
Right, but I'm just saying, like there, I'm sure that things that we literally just read the headline and moved on, they probably didn't need to be there then.
Maybe.
I think it was very
Maybe
good.
not, but I mean like then if you don't have them, then people go, well, why didn't you talk about this?
Like you mentioned
Well,
it,
because
it's-
we're not a news source, we talk about things that interest us.
But it's our first show, so we have.
Yeah.
I mean, like part of it is going like, okay, FIFA, get who.
I think that they can still say though about certain things that we literally just read the headline and moved on. Well, why don't you talk about that more? At the same as if we wouldn't have
Well,
said
like
it.
with FIFA, now they'll know in future episodes. Okay, they're probably not going to talk about sports games.
Yeah, exactly. It sort of sets a bit of a precedent. So I think covering all of our bases coming out of the gate is a good idea. So
Chris?
Um,
Sorry, Christoph.
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 I'd say 7.5, mostly just due to how long it was. Because at the end,
We were dragging through those last few segments. It was so hot.
yeah.
I was struggling.
Yeah, I would have liked to wrap it. I would have liked. I wanted to try to get it get a little bit clippier through the headlines as we moved on, but it was just like whenever we had a point to dig in on, we went for it, and I'm glad because like
Yeah.
as that always creates more interesting content and conversation. But you're right. If we're feeling the drag, audience is also going to be
Yeah.
feeling the drag.
Yeah.
So I think for next time that's going to be something to be like
I think 2 hours is really good. Like that's
2 hours-
What
2
Milk Break
hours is
Radio
a-
has been working there. I think
Yeah.
it would work well for this one.
yeah. I think it started to feel like it dragged after the 2 hour point. So and I mean we only took it to like 2.5, 2:45. So it wasn't full 3 hours.
Okay.
So yeah. But I think I think extended the time there though is introducing ourselves and who we are.
That's true.
true.
That's
If
true.
we didn't do any of that shit, then we would have the
Then we
length
had-
would have been perfect.
And we had it on both the front and a little on the back end too. That's true.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
did.
that's
we
very
did.
true.
But it is. But I also think it's important to establish
Oh, yeah, yeah,
what the
obviously.
audience can expect out of the show.
Yeah.
We definitely needed that part. So.
Yeah.
Cool.
Callie,
Yeah, I'd say an 8 again. Just like you said, it felt a little bit long at the end. It dragged a bit, but overall, I thought our chemistry was just super good. It felt like what we wanted. It felt like Limit Break Radio for gaming.
Well, let me ask you a question. So this is these two guys. This is the first time that they've launched a show outside of Limit Break Radio, right? Like
What?
you guys, you two.
Oh yeah.
You guys haven't ever done another podcast or something outside of Limit Break Radio.
assuming you don't count Simply Drugstore and Rogues Guy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. Do you?
No.
Not really, because it's still
It's still
technically Limit Break.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but Scalia, you have
Yeah.
you've you guys put
Monumental
out
Failure number 1 and Monumental Failure number 2.
Voices of Vana'diel, and then there was
Echoes of Eorzea.
Echoes of Eorzea, and then
Push to
finally the
Talk.
final iteration of that was Push to Talk. And I know because I've made all of those.
Are we
intros.
Are we not counting Double Buffoon?
Double Dragoon, yeah, there was that too. That
So-
was my
so-
YouTube thing
So you
though.
failed 4 times?
Double Dragoon, I liked Double Dragoon. Just
What happened to it?
video editing during school. That's literally what happened to. Like that's something I actually didn't want to stop doing. It's just I started going to Specs Howard around that time, and already all my time was work full time, go to Specs Howard, edit video for Specs Howard. No other time to edit more video. I liked Double Dragoon, but no, this was.
Let me defend this thing.
But let me defend this thing that like I did like that one. Like Push to Talk. This was so much better. Like trying to get Push Talk off the ground was so. It was tough. Like, cause me and Kyle, we had like, we'd already done Voices of Vanadil together. We're cousins. We know, like, we kind of had that chemistry ready to go. But at the same time, when we tried to transition it on to Push to Talk, we agreed way too much on everything.
Yeah.
Because we have similar tastes in gaming. So
that's not a problem unique to your show. That's just, it happens a lot.
Just like that's why we talked about this a few weeks ago. I think when we talk about why Limit Break Radio works well is because there's 5 of us and we disagree on shit all the fucking
Our
time.
friend Bill does that podcast, right, which I linked as an example of a format over a couple of drinks, and I was on one of their shows, and one of our friends commented that show was the best one they had so far. It was like episode 4 or 5, because he goes, every single time that Bill brought up a point, Robbie disagreed with it. He's like, the show needs more of that.
Yeah.
The show needs more conflict.
Discussion thrives on
Disagree
conflict.
more.
Yes.
Because the other guys, all 3 of them best friends, so they had that whole best friend repertoire, but they're like, you guys should agree on too much stuff.
So that's why Voices of Vanadil didn't run into that issue so much, is because I devil's advocated against the other 2 whenever humanly possible, but on Push to Talk that seemed like it was a lot harder to do.
Sometimes it can be. You know, and when you're talking about things like you know, video games and the video game industry, like I don't know, like I don't know, like Chris, I feel like on Limit Break Radio, you take the devil's advocate position, and you will advocate for something that I know you don't necessarily believe.
Well, not even necessarily
And do
that.
it, but do it seriously and in a way that adds to the discussion and adds a lot of
As
humor.
serious as
if
the
you-
juxtaposition character can be.
If
Yeah,
if
and
you
I'm-
look
and
at
I'm-
today's episode,
but
the
like-
whole FC thing, right?
Yeah.
I agreed with your point that
Right.
it needs to be there, and I think he did too. I don't think we're playing devil's advocate and defending the other point. We were just coming at it from a different angle. That, okay, yeah, it needs it. You're right. But this is why they're not going to give it, and it still added discussion to it. So
Sure,
you don't
but-
even necessarily have to be against each other.
Well, right, but what I'm saying is that Chris, are you going to be able to transition that same thing, that same sort of
Devil's advocate to
trolly devil's advocate thing that you do, like into I mean, because this is a lot of times we're going to be talking about things that are very real, much more real than Eorzea can ever get. I mean, like, we're talking about video games, but we're also talking about their development, we're also talking about media, and we're also talking about culture, and those things are those are very tangible, very real things. So it's like, I'm just kind of, you know, like,
oh sure, I can bullshit about anything.
Well, just to be able to not do that would be the more.
But here's the other thing, that I don't think we necessarily have to worry about that, because even when it comes to stuff that we agree on, me and Nika both agree on the exact same things for Mass Effect and Final Fantasy VII, yet we're still butting heads over it, and we're on the same side of it.
that's true.
So the topics that we're going to be tackling are so multifaceted that you can still agree on something and still end up going against each other in a very, very definitive way.
That's true. That's true.
But yes, to bring it back to your original point, no, this show was much more fun to start. Good lord.
So, but also, you know, like, how much do you think your nerves going into it, you know,
Stem from that?
stem from having
Definitely a
some rough
possibility.
launches in the past?
Oh yeah, like the first Push to Talk was a nightmare. The first Echoes of Eorzea was a nightmare, but to be fair, we ran into the issue there of the game fucking sucked, so.
So,
that didn't help.
all right, hold on. If I could point something out here, just really, really quickly, okay?
I'm sure this won't be
So-
at my expense at all.
No, don't worry about it. So you and I launched Final Fantasy XI's Limit Break Radio. It was
Yes.
obviously great. You know, we brought Juxta into it.
Hold his hands.
That was not a failure whatsoever.
Right.
Limit Break
Juxta was
Radio
not
was
a
a no Limit Break Radio. The first
Oh.
Limit Break Radio, monumental success.
I don't think at any point could I ever put Limit Break Radio into the failure
Right,
category.
okay,
Like, it's always been
Yep.
remarkably
So-
popular, or at least exceeded my expectations.
After Limit Break Radio, you
Right.
tried to do Refresh Radio.
Refresh podcast, yes.
Refresh failure.
Failure.
You tried to do Voices of Vanadil. Failure. You tried.
No, not if
No, no,
It was
no,
fine. It was
oh,
Echoes of
okay.
Eorzea Push to Talk that sucked.
Okay. Push to Talk sucked. The other one that you mentioned.
Yep.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
Limit Break Radio again, vastly popular, and now Final Encounter, vastly popular. So if we take all of those projects and take a look at them,
Okay.
I'm starting to see a trend.
What
do they have in common?
Yeah, what's the thing?
Well, all the ones that failed didn't have us in it.
That's true.
And all the ones that
Oh.
But, so wait, but,
I thought this couch was getting crowded again.
but wait, by that logic,
Blah, blah, blah.
by that logic though, then shouldn't your ventures out like with Simply Juxta and with the Rogues Den like
Those should have been the
those
greatest
been
ever.
explosively popular? Because they weren't.
those are lumped in with Limit Break Radio.
Yeah. We already established at the start of
We did
the
establish
reroll.
that.
But
The ego starts
your
to deplete.
your numbers never got to the point where you could.
It doesn't matter. They were part of that. They were successful.
Yeah, they were living.
No, they weren't. No, they
We
weren't.
already established.
No.
They weren't.
So
And even though those shows by themselves weren't as popular, we weren't both on each other's show.
That's why. The power.
Jeez.
The power between the two.
Wait,
I tried to explain this to Ferris before.
He was on your stream all the time.
Oh, it's a different show. Way
different
back.
thing. Different thing.
Yeah, this is a different thing. I've explained to Fairbear the way that our relationship works is we suck the awesome like a life force out of the people around us. That's why nobody really sticks around too long because if they did they would literally probably die.
Yeah.
But the reason that we are able to survive is because that stealing of the life force like cycles through us, making us stronger.
Fucking Gaia and Terra over here.
And that's how we become like more alike too. So when you combined us together, we just get
fuck
super
already.
awesome.
Good
Yeah.
lord.
Yeah, go get a room.
Don't touch his dick.
Yeah, exactly.
Jeez.
Exactly.
Sometimes I wonder why
Yes,
I'm here.
clearly you two are the reason that Limit Break Radio is great.
Yes.
I believe I remember someone saying that when I left LBR the first time, it wasn't as good.
It definitely became harder to produce.
Okay. Just throwing
I
that
had to carry.
You had to carry everybody?
these guys. Yeah.
Whatever. I think it was like the only person actually playing back in the day.
I think you were.
I think the issue there was like I was trying to be Callow and it was horrible because I just can't.
Well, how
cannot
are you
do
trying
that.
to be me?
Like my thinking was like, okay, Callow's gone, so I'm gonna try and like be like Anero's like right hand man. It was horrible. I couldn't do it for shit. I just could not do that character.
All you have to do is be suave and witty.
Problem found.
Can you not pull off either of those?
Do you know my character on the show? Do I come off as suave and witty at any point?
No.
No, exactly. So no, that's
You're a really good punching bag though.
Yeah, really good at that. Yeah.
Awkward and
punch
sweaty.
is gonna punch.
Awkward and sweaty.
Yeah,
That's what I'd
yeah.
say.
Awkward and sweaty. All right, we can take that.
Yeah. But I mean, like to be fair, sweaty applies to all of us.
Yes.
Excuse me, I was glowing.
Because of this.
How's that button-up shirt? How did that survive?
People said that I looked dapper.
Yeah, you did look dapper. I'm curious what the pit stains look like.
They actually weren't that bad.
The back sweat pattern from the chair.
They weren't that bad.
I'm surprised.
That's because I had this shirt on, so
I'm
that
surprised.
soaked it all.
I was.
Ooh, another idea. After teabagging you, I'm just gonna drape this over your face. Yeah.
Gross. So
This
I hope I can tell the difference between you two in the dark.
You're sleeping with him from now on.
he came back to the show like the most humble I've ever known
not
you, and it's
cool.
just gone
What are
away.
you talking about?
Like when you first came back, like you weren't humble. You were just the most humble that I've ever known you, and it has
like
gone
when I
away.
first came back, like on a Radio Reborn. You
Right,
mean?
right. You came back. You weren't you didn't just jump right back into the LBR Callow. You were Callow, but you were a little bit more humble, and it's just gone
I
away.
don't know what that means.
I don't think that that's true.
Yeah.
I think I seem to recall him
I
from
think
the pilot
he's-
episode storming in and making a fit
Yes!
that he was.
Yes, that I wasn't included. That was great.
Maybe
Yeah,
I
it
just
was a good
blocked
bit.
that.
It was a really
Maybe
good
I
bit.
just blocked that out.
Which, by the way, I mean, if anyone is ever curious about the bit, that the reason why that happened, it was Youmacon weekend that we had
Yeah.
recorded that, right?
Was it Youmacon weekend?
Yeah, because that's when we started
that.
that show. The show was right around Youmacon.
I know that I was down there for some reason. I didn't know if it was for.
It was for Youmacon, and
No
you were
way.
you were down there for the recording, and we were like, all right, we're gonna do episode 1, and then we came up with this bit where you came in and stormed the studio, and everyone got really excited. I think you got excited participating in it again,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was like 3 episodes later. Oh well, Kyle was part of
Well,
this.
because I think what ended up happening was with my job, I wasn't sure how much I'd be able to dedicate to it, right?
Okay. All right.
And then I had actually I mean, maybe it was for Yomicon, but there was another time where I had the weekend off, and I'm like, yeah, I'll come down with you, right?
Yeah.
And
Well, I
kinda
just
chat
remember
in a
like
little
you
bit.
were in the house.
Right,
and-
yeah.
And
And I
that's
thought
when
it
we
was
just
like,
came up with
maybe
this bet.
maybe I can actually commit to this, so then I did.
Yeah. So that's how that ended.
I remember you having a hissy fit 'cause I was sitting in your chair. That's what I remember.
Bitch. Know your place.
Or that's my microphone. I think
That, oh, yeah,
Yeah,
that's what it
yeah,
was.
my
A
mic.
microphone.
Yeah, then that's where you guys send over. That's when you guys send over to the corner.
Yep.
Yep.
Memories.
Good times.
Memories.
Good times. Were you there for the entire show? Did you sit in on that entire show, or was it
He
just
didn't sit
the
in. He sat out in the living
The
room.
first
for most
one,
of it.
yeah, I was either playing a game, maybe I was drawing on the living room, but I was doing something watching you guys.
Yeah, it was just the bet.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. And then like
Everyone got really excited.
and then 2-3 episodes later.
I'm back.
Yeah. Here you go. I
I'm
think
back.
was it 2 or 3? Because it was by the drunk episode.
I think it was episode 4 or 5 that I came.
No, it was by the drunk. I think drunk episode was like third in
Was
the third series of
No,
episodes.
I don't know.
Anyway, so yeah. Sorry, tangent.
By the way, just fun fact about that. That when we announced in the LBR host chat at the time that Callow was going to be coming back to the show, I was on my phone at the time, and like I was at work, so I really couldn't be checking my messages. I just saw, oh cool, Callow's coming back. And then I saw another message come up where Aniro had private messaged me on there outside of the host chat, and I couldn't check the message right away, and I was like, he's about to kick me off the fucking show for Callow. I know what this fucking shit is, and I'm getting all pissed off.
Oh, that's
I am furious at work, like contemplating out like my words for him when he tells me, and then I check the message, and he's like, "Hey, are you available for a show next week?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, never mind, we're good."
That is awesome that you literally thought it was going to look
That's what I thought was coming.
Now that Kahlo's coming back, we don't really have room.
Right, that's what I thought was coming.
That would have been a serious dick move on my
Right?
part. Wow.
Right?
Wow.
Sweet, fuck you.
That would have been a perfect bit.
Positive
What the
comment.
fuck? You can't say that shit.
Oh, you can edit it out.
Okay. I'm gonna have to. We're dropping the Callow again.
Fix it in post.
God, people.
Unbelievable.
Good lord.
I'm so glad that you didn't just hear that, audience.
One day.
I'm totally the Tony Stark, aren't I?
Yes.
Awesome.
Like, I know that's a compliment to you, and I hate that it has to be true, but you fucking are.
I'm Thor, right?
No.
Hawkeye.
Hulk.
Oh, come on. Can't I be like
Hulk.
Scarlet Witch?
No,
Hulk.
I'm sorry. No, him. He would be
Oh,
Hawkeye.
he would be Hawkeye. Hulk.
I'm Hulk?
Yes.
Not in a ragey sense.
I don't know. After the Final
Hold on.
Fantasy VII talk right there, you might be the Hulk.
Wait, no. We can't look at this in like a literal sense of the term.
I feel like
Because
I
obviously
understand
I'm not a
because I'm
billionaire
Hulk.
philanthropist, alright?
True.
Here's what I think. The reason that you're the Hulk is because you are really smart and you do have insight, right? And you can carry yourself in conversation. So you have a Bruce Banner sort of thing.
But you
But,
take this
but
opposite
instead of having
turn.
this angry Hulk that comes out, it's a troll.
Yes. Yeah. Accurate.
I think that you would be Thor.
Okay.
I'd
No,
take it.
I see him more as Captain America. Not in like the patriotic kind of guy.
Well,
but
no,
in the
obviously.
one that like directs where everything goes.
No, see, that's why I think he would be.
Planning it.
That's why I think he would be Thor, is because he's very single-minded and set on doing the right thing and keeping things flowing. But he still has this side of him that's kind of like, if he needs to fuck shit up and get into a rage, he can. That Viking, the whole Viking thing.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
Yeah. So I would give that. Nika would be Captain America
Yeah.
because she's all like
All
righteous
things that are
and-
right.
righteous and a paladin, and I have my shield, and everybody.
But I'm not
just-
negative.
Come on, watch your language.
And also
Watch your language.
also watch your language. That's good. And also, it would be obviously sexist to give her Black Widow. I mean, it would just.
Well, plus
Well,
she's
she's
not that
not
cool.
Because we've never
Wow.
said anything sexist in
She's
this
not
show.
that cool.
She's
So-
no.
Alright, so there's our Avengers personas. That was a cool little bit.
There you go. You can have that.
Yeah.
That's for you. That's what makes this entertaining, okay?
I hope people are glad that they pay for this because, yeah, you basically guys didn't just get 2 shows this week. You got a third
Yeah,
right
this
here.
is basically a show.
This is starting to turn into a show.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
And
people
you know
will
what?
actually
It's
start
fun.
watching it.
Yeah.
God, Yeah,
I feel
it's
like
so
what-
much fun editing these and seeing 20 views.
You know what
Yeah.
you need to start doing? I think what you need to start doing now is making like a clip reel. Take a bunch of really funny parts of these and make like a promo for
Yeah,
Patreon videos.
That's not a
Wow.
bad idea.
Wow.
That is not a bad idea.
High five.
Yeah, no, that's a really
That's
good
a
idea.
great
You're
idea.
welcome.
Whoa, whoa, whoa!
Uh
You
oh.
do not blah 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 after a high five.
Someone's getting jealous.
No,
Ooh, he's
You
withholding
don't.
sex.
no.
Come on.
You know you want
Just
somebody.
look, just fist him and get it over.
No.
Honey, do it.
Would you leave the one dude hanging from Scrubs? What's his name?
Turk?
No, the guy who's always fisting people.
Oh,
The Todd.
The Todd.
Todd.
Yeah. Would you leave the Todd hanging?
but
Ba-la-la-la-la. Got him. I got him. Did you see me get him?
I did it to you.
Oh, I wasn't sure you were gonna try and pull away again. So.
by the way, editing the creation of the Technonomicron, watching through the beginning of that and just seeing Juxta being
Like,
the director.
first of all, Fritz coming through and Nate, like, you know,
I wanted to edit that out, but then I was like, no,
No,
would
that
you
has
do
to
that
stay.
out?
and then his head popping us, and like just in fact,
Shooing him back.
just in slow,
No,
fast.
him at
Good.
the beginning
Good.
though, say, like it was like, get on your knees, open your mouth, and your reaction like, no, Jesus Christ, like come on. Again, like you were ready to agree with it, and then you realized what he said. You're like, hey, come on.
I do that a lot.
Yes,
That was a pretty great video. I really like watching.
that was actually a lot of fun to edit together. Just because, like at the beginning, I'm seeing like watching it like this is going at the end, and then you're like, this is going at the end, right? I'm like, oh, leaving that in there.
But okay.
No, you leave that in there.
So now, in order for me to watch these videos, I can watch them, but I have to be on the Limit Break Radio YouTube account.
If
right?
I upload it as private for Patreon viewers,
Right,
yeah.
which you obviously do.
For that one, yeah.
Well,
Not every video I put up.
no,
there.
for I mean for all the Patreon videos.
Patreon,
I
yeah,
never
for
watched.
logging to Limit Break
I've
Radio
never watched
watch,
any
yes.
Patreon videos. So.
Or you can subscribe to us on Patreon.
You know, the first time that Twitch charges me when I have nothing in my account, and I get a $23 overdraft fee. Somebody's getting teabagged. That's all I'm saying.
Why do you not have $5 in your account?
Because you know what always gets me is my fucking health insurance. Because they're always switching what day they take it out on.
That actually, I don't think that's unique to you because they have changed what my due date is on my bill a lot.
Yeah, because it'll always be like, all right, I have $15 left. I haven't spent anything. I literally get paid in 2 days. It's fine. Just don't use my debit card, right? And then like I'll get on there like Thursday night and like suddenly I'm negative $23 and I'll click on it and it'll be like Blue Cross Blue Care. I'm like, you motherfucker.
Here, look, this is what I did because I was having the exact same problem. Is I actually told them to take me off of their automatic bill repay. I told them I'm going to submit my payments manually because you guys can't figure out when the fuck you're charging me. So now, I mean, I have to go to their website and pay the bill on my own.
Right.
But at least I know when the money is going to be subtracted from
Yeah,
my
because
account.
I literally
It's
just got a fucking letter from them. It's like, by the way, we're gonna start doing our payment on the 1st now. So you're gonna pay twice in this month, but you won't pay next month. So I'm like, all right, fine, on the 1st, 23rd.
And not only that, but you know, like if you run up against a situation where you're late on paying that bill, they have to give you like a 10-day grace period to pay it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, like you're not running any risk by not paying it.
Yeah.
And anyway. We're talking about health
I was like,
insurance.
am I supposed to be editing this out?
No, this will just stay. But
Hold on.
no, we're gonna end this. No, don't ask this question, or at least wait until after we say
But
goodbye.
they really want to know what this question is now.
You guys pay for health insurance?
Get out of
Obamacare, $23.
I paid the donut, bro.
You paid the donut?
The donut. Bagel.
I don't think I have health insurance.
Tell you.
You're gonna pay.
I know. I know.
You're gonna pay like $90 at the end of the year.
Oh no, not 90 bucks.
Probably more like 180.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not fun. All right. Anyway,
We're talking about health insurance.
hey, is this called refresh?
Can you please put that when you do the little
Turn the
montage?
knife.
There's a point where it just cuts to we're talking about health insurance.
See like little like text at the bottom like shining lights like health insurance WTF question marks. It's like flashing.
Earlier
Because that's
on
where
when-
his video experience ends, is flashing text.
No, I got but like earlier on when you were just like, we're moving on, I'm sitting there just thinking like, I'm gonna drop a little like bit of text over his head that just says murderous intent over his head. Just like, that's what I sit here thinking about whenever we do videos. Like, how am I gonna edit this later?
We're just like,
Well, I'm really curious what you're gonna come up with for the video intro for Final Encounter Cast, because we finally have an intro for that now.
Mhm.
Although we do need a witty slogan or catchphrase to go.
We
into
got
that.
one, man.
No, that does not count.
Unlock your game
It's-
face.
Unlock your old face. All right, no, all right. That's it. We're done. We're done.
knock your
We're
penis into the
Christopher.
We're done.
Bye,
All right,
guys.
Bye. Thank you, of course, always for your support on Patreon. And you know, if you really like what we do, you know, like if you've been giving at the $10 level or $20 level, and you really want to make sure that you know, Final Encounter Cast happens more often, or that we get better webcams.
Get
You
your
know.
friends to donate.
Or, you know, tell your friends. Yeah, tell your friends about Final Encounter
Actually, no,
Cast.
that's a big thing that I did want to actually push.
Yes.
With Final Encounter Cast, now obviously there's a lot of people that you might think would like what we do, but they don't play Final Fantasy. They have no
Right.
concept for it.
Right.
Final Encounter Cast is something that especially you guys are obviously our most hardcore, loyal fans. So, you know, we can't do a lot of what we do without you, and that extends into bringing new people into the fold. So if you liked what you saw with Final Encounter Cast, please push that to your friends, push that to your families, people who you think or who you know are into gaming that might like this.
Dude, how often does that come up where someone will ask like, what's your podcast about? I'm like, well, it's about Final Fantasy 14.
And they
Like,
try to
if I played it, I'm like, all right,
yeah,
whatever.
like I have a guy
Yeah,
I
But
work
now,
with
but
who's
like I know they're
interested
gamers.
in
Like,
listening
and,
to it.
yeah,
Yeah.
if Final Encounter Cast had been around when I was having that conversation, they'd have been into that.
Right, right, yeah,
So
absolutely.
sorry to
No. But that's a great point. Please spread the word. You know, the biggest thing that we need at the moment, like, yes, we've got an LB army of like 17 to 20,000 strong, and that keeps growing all the time, and that's fantastic. And we're hoping to bring all of those people over to the Final Encounter Cast. But as you know, as Kahlo had just, you know, pointed out, like that this is not such a narrow field. Like, bring in your friends, bring in your family, share it to your Facebook walls.
the power of the viral social media. That's you guys. You are the heralds of the Final Encounter.
Yeah. So spread the word, and again, if and if you like what we do, maybe consider making an increase in your commitment to Limit Break Radio to ensure that programming like this sticks around and can expand even farther. Because the bigger budget that we have, the more that we're going to be able to do, the more resources, the more time we're going to be able to allocate for stuff like this. And I think that we've proven with this first episode that we're not just a one-trick pony. We don't just have interesting things to say about Final Fantasy XIV. We have interesting things to say about video games, about culture, about media, and we hope that you're going to be along for that ride with Final Encounter Cast. So, thank you guys for watching this what seems like a very long Greenlink video. And if you have any comments, leave them. Either leave them on the YouTube page or on the Patreon post. So, thank you very much, guys, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.